I'm joined by Will Whitehorn. Will, hello. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've been addressing in your talk today?
Yes, I mean, I have basically been talking to the industry and to government and to all the interested parties today about basically where space is now. We're at a kind of seminal moment in the history of the space industry in the UK because we're on the cusp of being part of an industrial revolution or being left behind. And the UK has a really good and successful space industry. But the fact of the matter is, the bulk of investment to date has been happening in companies in the United States and Japan. They are doing better at getting investment in the current period than we're doing here. So really, I was a rallying cry today as to why space matters so much. Well, it matters because of climate change and human population growth. It matters because we can industrialize up there and do the things up there that we cannot achieve in the planet's atmosphere without producing CO2. So we can put our solar power in space and we can microwave it down to the planet. We can also put our digitized world in space, have our server farms in space. But to do that, we need to invest, and Britain needs to invest its industry. So I was describing how personally I'm working on setting up an investment trust at the moment, which will float on the stock market next week. We're raising 100 million this week to invest in British space companies. So I was describing that process and what the government needs to do to encourage investment in the space industry in the UK. It needs to get regulation to be the best in the world, but also some of the easiest in the world. We need to provide insurance cover for space launches. We need to have a positive attitude to sovereign launch capability for satellites. We need to develop companies that can do AI in space, quantum computing physics in space. We need to have a pharmaceutical industry that can make the molecules in space to make the drugs of the future. We need to basically do everything in space and much less in the planet. Because if 11 billion of us are going to survive here by 2050, we have to take the heat out of the planet, and space is the only way to do it. So that's a sort of summary.
Wow, very interesting. And so why is it important for you to be here at SpaceCom 2021?
Well, I need to be here because we need to talk to the industry as a whole, and we need to talk to government, and they're all here. But what we must also do is begin to talk to the wider public about why space industry matters so much, why it's important that these new technologies such as Virgin Orbit, SpaceX, Blue Origin, Virgin Galactic, why they are actually important to the survival of humankind, because they are going to cheapen access to space and make it easier. We need to talk to the general public about why their pension funds should be investing in space companies. And we're not talking to the general public enough. We talk to ourselves too much, I think, as an industry. And SpaceCom, for me, is a platform to get out there and do an interview with Bloomberg or do an interview on the BBC later this week and try and get people wrapped into what will be the biggest industrial future that many people will have.
Wow. And so who are you hoping to connect with? Because that is quite something.
Well, personally, I'm actually reasonably well connected because
I have heard, Will.
president of the space industry. So for me, it's not, I'm basically helping others to network here.
It's an opportunity for
I'm
them
bringing
to
other
find
people
you.
together and and people come and see me. And on the personal front, it's very nice to be back at a real event.
I know, absolutely.
I do think for the future, hybridized events will be the way forward, and they will make events like this work even better.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that next year's SpaceCom will be fully hybridized as well as real.
Yes.
It'll be a bigger real event and a big hybridized event.
I was going to ask actually, what would, because it's of course an inaugural event, what would you see being a little bit different next year? So
I see that.
Yes.
I see a truly global audience that we can speak to. And, that in the modern era means hybridization, having virtuality and reality combined.
Brilliant. Well, Will Whitehorn, thank you very much.